they work.
So,
yeah, because there's a, yes.
yeah, thanks, I appreciate it.
No, mi sa che aspettiamo sperando la risoluzione.
Double check me.
Oh, yeah, please. Oh, let me see what you've got here. Let's take a look.
It's clicking away.
It looks record. So now, if that, you
Does that mean it's recording?
I think so. I think you have that, yeah. And are we,
Since
I'm looking at the numbers.
half of the other.
No, the numbers are going. I say we go. All right. I think people have made it across Canada, so I'm going to start now. Thank you,
No,
Betsy.
just one second. I
Yeah.
told Aria to,
Oh,
that she
okay.
should be back.
Perfect. We'll hang on for a little bit. That's good. There we go. There's more. Fantastic. Please, and grab some, there are some handouts in the back there if you want to grab some of those as well.
I'm afraid that I can't.
I mean, just if you want, I mean, you can always just go up and down, line. So up, down, so she can see what's next. All righty. Room is looking good.
What do you think, Betsy?
I don't see anyone wandering.
Okay, start here. All right. Good noon, everybody. So I can now officially say good afternoon, in fact. Welcome, welcome. I'm Tom Garza. I'm the director of the Texas Language Center. I'm also an associate professor in the Department of Slavic and Eurasian Studies. I'm also in the trenches teaching Russian to the masses who wish to learn these wonderful languages that we offer here. I'm delighted to welcome you in particular today, this afternoon, because it's the first of our 2013-2014 academic year series of Language Matters. This is our monthly colloquium where we try to bring together our best and brightest and most wonderful stars of our language teaching here at the University of Texas to share their ideas with the public, anyone in our own community who wants them. And of course, we put all these Language Matters series talks also on the web so that they're accessible. And we do get literally hundreds and hundreds of hits on these programs. So I'm really glad that we're able to add another one here. A couple of things on the handouts that you've got just to let everyone know. We just finished finalizing our fall schedule. You can see we've got a whole number of activities coming up for the next 3 months. If this is kind of a good starter place, we encourage you also to go to our website and check out, friend us on Facebook. We love to get all the friends because we're just, we're dying for the attention. And so please friend us, and that way you'll get automatic messages if anything changes or when we add things to the schedule. So do that. Our next big event after today's Language Matters is a week from Saturday, which you've got the yellow handout called Blogs and Chats and Tweets Oh My, using social media and foreign language instruction. And this it's part of our plan this year, 2013-14, to focus in the Texas Language Center in our workshops on creative, innovative, new uses of technology, not in the usual way of just putting things on a computer, but really trying to create hybrid classrooms, to create classrooms where the teacher still rules, but materials online help him do the job even better and help our students learn even more in a shorter period of time. So this particular workshop, a week from Saturday, is devoted to 4 different languages. We're doing Russian, Arabic, German, and Spanish. Is that correct, Nancy? I'm trying to remember if I've got them right. I think so.
Dutch or German?
Dutch, my mistake. It's Dutch, not German. It's Dutch, that's right. So very different, diverse languages with very different techniques, using everything from Facebook, Twitter, other social media, one using MySpace, one using iChat, and others. So I think it's kind of a cool thing. And please, the last request is before you leave today, if you very quickly could fill out, after our wonderful presentations this afternoon, to fill out this little form. It just gives us more ammunition when we go to the dean to say, please keep languages going at the University of Texas. So, enough of me now. I want to get on to the program here, and I'm going to introduce first. We have 3 speakers doing the group presentation today on an incredibly wonderful, innovative project in our Italian department. But I will introduce my colleague, my dear friend and colleague, first to introduce the other 2 speakers. So, I'm always honored to introduce Antonello del Fattore Olsen, who is a distinguished faculty member in the Department of French and Italian, who has brought so much energy, not just to the classroom, I should say just to the classroom, but also to the incredible study abroad program in Rome every summer, which attracts students not just from the Italian department proper, but also from affiliated fields, because it's such an interesting program itself. And this particular project that I know she's been working on, that we're going to talk about today, using the Untitled program, has been one in the making now for several years, and we're very pleased in the Texas Language Center to be able to make a small contribution to that this past summer in helping her do some of the work. So without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce my colleague, Professor Antonello del Fattore Olsen.
Thank you for being here. Thank you, Dr. Garza, Texas Language Center, for organizing this series. I think they're very important. Also, thank you so much, Betsy Brown. You always do everything, behind the scene, and it's so important to have you here. I'm very happy today to talk again. I've been talking about ETAL now. Probably this is the 3rd time that I presented, but this time I'm going to do it with the 2 filmmakers, the real creators of ETAL. And we have Sergio Carvajal Leoni and Romina Olson. So it's going to be more special because they can fill in what was actually the process of building this project. My role is more the one of the academic advisor. I'm a supervisor of 611, so of course I create everything that has to do with class, but all the incredible videos, the credit goes to them, and not just the videos as you will see later. Okay, so before starting talking about why ETAL, how ETAL works, since it's, has to do with videos, and since it's lunchtime, we decided to show you an entire video that is related with food, so you have a better understanding of how the actual video, this is one of the 25 videos, and you'll see why it's related to food. Now we're going to show it to you. Right. It belongs to the series Culture Bits. I will explain later how the ETAL is structured.
La mia relazione con il cibo italiano è molto più profonda di quanto io possa spiegare con le parole. Nel mio negozio ogni buccia è cotta su ordinazione, non perché è più produttivo o meno costoso. La ragione per cui facciamo questo è perché credo fermamente nella nostra tradizione. Potrei comprare il pane confezionato tenerlo in magazzino per un mese e poi vendertelo? Ma no, sarei un traditore. Questa relazione che ho con il cibo è una di quelle che mi ricorda che c'è un solo modo di cucinare le mie bucce. Amare. È da molto ormai che la cucina italiana è popolare in tutto il mondo. La cucina italiana ha veramente qualcosa di speciale che attira tutti, ma la popolarità e di conseguenza l'alta richiesta del cibo italiano negli Stati Uniti ha alterato la pura essenza della nostra cucina. Le grandi compagnie sono concentrate sul guadagno, dimenticando che in Italia il vero cuoco ha una vera relazione con ciò che sta preparando. Quando ti dimentichi di questa relazione, ti dimentichi delle diverse caratteristiche di ciò che rende il cibo italiano veramente italiano. So quello che state pensando. Va bene, Lucky, ma allora, cos'è che rende il cibo italiano veramente italiano? Immaginate di essere un pittore e la tua tavolozza di colore sono i tuoi ingredienti. Ogni colore, così come ogni ingrediente che scegli, ha una ragione per essere lì. Se pensi agli ingredienti in questa maniera, scegliendo un olio d'oliva, per esempio, tutto diventa un'esperienza completamente diversa. Apprezzerai la freschezza, apprezzerai le mani ed il duro lavoro che è stato fatto per produrre quest'olio. Sai che va bene pagare di più. Ciò che è importante è che tu scelga i giusti ingredienti per il quadro che vuoi dipingere. Pensate in che mondo potremmo vivere se tutti dessero la stessa importanza nello scegliere gli ingredienti. Per alcuni ristoranti, cucinare è diventato un processo rapido. Capisco, siamo tutti occupati, vogliamo tutto velocemente ed è esattamente questo motivo che le grandi compagnie concentrano la loro attenzione nella produzione rapida.
Ciò che si mangia in Italia è totalmente diverso da quello che viene presentato qui in America. Il cibo italiano è semplicissimo. Non è complicato e si basa ancora su quello che si trova in stagione.
Per un vero cuoco italiano, cucinare è come un balletto che esegui con i tuoi ingredienti e culmina con un gran finale, che sarebbe il piatto che ti stai per mangiare. Se pensi alla cucina in questa maniera, capisci anche che tutte le cose buone nella vita hanno bisogno di tempo. Per noi sminuzzare, affettare, pelare, l'ordine in cui aggiungiamo gli ingredienti, sono tutte cose che rendono il processo di cucinare un piatto speciale come quando te lo mangi. Il nostro cibo è pieno di colori, consistenza, aromi, gusti. A volte potrei guardare il cibo all'infinito senza neppure mangiarlo. Così attraente dovrebbe essere il cibo italiano. Così, come per ogni buon pasto, anche l'ordine in cui si servono le portate è unico. I ristoranti come Paris, in Trastevere, dove il Rome Study Program dell'Università del Texas ad Austin si riunisce per la cena a conclusione del programma, servono agli studenti un pasto all'italiana di 3 portate.
Diciamo che in Italia abbiamo sempre avuto la differenziazione delle portate. Si cominciava dall'antipasto, poi si mangiava il primo, oppure, quindi la pasta, oppure una zuppa, poi si mangiava il secondo, e il contorno e il dolce o la frutta. Non tutti i giorni mangiavi così naturalmente, però diciamo che le portate in Italia erano strutturate così.
E visto che Anthony Bourdain considera Paris uno dei suoi ristoranti preferiti a Roma, possiamo essere sicuri che Gianni sa fare molto bene il suo mestiere. E naturalmente mai e poi mai bisogna dimenticare di condividere. Un vero pasto all'italiana esiste solo quando le persone hanno voglia di riunirsi, dimenticare le loro differenze, divertirsi e godendo questo cibo meraviglioso che si è impiegato tanto tempo a preparare. E quando dico condividere, mi riferisco anche al lavoro. Alla fine è questo il legame che crea tra la gente, è ciò che rende veramente italiano il nostro cibo. Tieni, Romy. Grazie.
We want to hear a little bit of the music because this music was composed by an Italian musician who lives and works here in Austin, who has been part of ITA, and she very kindly wrote this song for us. Okay, I
was
could
cruel.
spend
Cruel. I haven't eaten yet.
yeah, and it's lucky Scuccia. I could spend the entire presentation just talking about this video because this video kind of symbolizes all the blending that we are doing. Okay, you have seen interviews here in Austin, interviews in Italy. You have seen scenes of Rome. You have seen scene of the, one of the very famous among the Italian community, this guy, Lucky, a little bit weird, different from your stereotypical Italian person. Students love him, students go to him, and blah, blah, blah. So I could just spend the entire presentation just focusing on this specific video, which, by the way, is not my favorite, but that's okay. So let me tell you a little bit about, the background of ITA. ITA, yes, I have thought about video since probably the second day I started working at UT a long time ago, but the actual ITA project came out to be just about a year ago, okay? And why? Well, the idea was to mainly try to answer two important questions. One is the language major crisis that kind of hit the foreign language department recently, especially the Romance languages. Just a few days ago, we heard that they probably will close French, German, music, education department in Pennsylvania. So it's a reality, it's not something that we are making up. The other question is also the fact that now some departments at UT have a lower number of contact hours. So Italian, for example, went from 16 to 12 hours. So the two questions that arose about a year or more ago was how to preserve the culture, the presence of culture within the classroom since day one. Because I'm one of those believers that language and culture education must be integrated. I always thought even before internet and computer, be my strong belief. Go back just a minute. And let me ask the second question, which is a big issue, and I'm sure that Sergio can address this much better than I can. I'm a dinosaur, but I do notice that in class, the lack of interest among students is there. It's not because they don't like anymore Italy or Italian, but their world is so saturated by media content that we need to do something about that. Now we are doing a lot, but maybe go even a little bit farther. So with this in mind, when the 6-6 sequence was implemented in the French and Italian department, I asked for assistance. I was lucky to have around me two brilliant filmmakers, and so Sergio Carvalleoni and Romina Olsen come to my rescue. They also want to do things on their own, of course. They didn't do it just for charity. They were working already on their own about similar projects. So we try to combine the needs together. And here you have our little team. Of course, we have other people helping us, a lot of other people, but that's us. And of course, the question is, this kind of projects are extremely expensive. No, it's a fact. If you go on the web and you see how much that will cost. So how did we do for funding? Well, we were very lucky to have Dr. Tom Garza, who believed in us and in the project, and the Texas Language Center gave us an initial funding. And then, of course, the initial funding helped a lot for the pre-production and the first part of the production in Italy, and for the rest, personal investment. So I, my mom, Romina, Sergio, and other people just help us, with money to keep going and finish up the project. The project continued with the more production here in Austin, and then probably the most challenged phase now I know, the post-production. The post-production means to sit at a computer nights, overnights, days, overnight. I've seen them do it, you know, right? If you are from the communication school, you know what I'm talking about. Hours and hours in editing, adding music, putting subtitles, transcribe interviews. I mean, it was really a huge amount of work invested, but we do believe in this project. And okay, so let's go to ETAL. ETAL, so far ETAL consists of 3 modules. Each module, as you can see there, has one team. How do we choose the team? We conduct a survey in Italian 601 prior to of course, the production in Italy. And the student chose 4 or 5 topics. Of course, you know, if we can, hopefully in the future we'll go on and make more video covering the other topics. But for now, that's what we have. Daily Life of Italians, Module 1. As you see, Module 1 consists of several videos, not just one. So we start with the centerpiece, which is the longest video, meaning probably around between 12 and 14 minutes long, so it's quite long. Then we have culture bits. You saw Lucky come from the culture bits on Module 3, actually. And then we have I'll tell you later how we use that. In-class comprehension, those are extra optional exercise. Then we have cooking with an accent, which is usually the shortest and sweetest one of them because they talk about a regional recipe, usually 2 rival, and they have to convince the audience which one is best. They also talk about their region, their cities, and things that for me is the most important, they introduce the concept of dialect. They say something in dialect, that's something that dialect, let's not talk about them, you know, I wrote a book for second intermediate, and I had to fight with McGraw-Hill to put at least the concept, oh right, by the way, in Italy there are still speaking dialects, quite a few. Anyway, and then we have the listening comprehension. Those are exercises that we use for the oral component of each test. In 611, second intensive year of Italian, we have 5 tests plus many things, but as far as tests goes, 5 tests plus a final exam. Each test, not the first one, has an oral component, and we use the ETAL video. Sometimes we have one like this one, Can Italiano, which was one of the most loved by the students, about dogs. Usually we don't talk about dogs in Italian classroom. They love that video. For others, we take passages from the centerpiece. Okay? Then the module 2 deals with travel in the south, both of Italy and the United States, and they're very similar, 1 and 2. Whereas module 3, it's a little bit more complex. We change a little bit the structure. We make the student be part of this. Okay, and probably Sergio will tell you a little bit more about that. Okay, so we are talking about the 4 language skill, but with ETAL so far, we have talked about the 5th one, right? I, you, and many others educators call the 5th skill the culture, right? Now, the culture, many people wrote paper, how much culture? I mean, it's not an easy issue. We can all talk about culture, but when, how much? Do we all talk the same amount for each class? 611 is not an upper division class. So if I teach an upper division, it's up to me to decide how much time to devote to everything. But when you teach a multiple section class, that's another story. We all need to do more or less the same thing, correct? Okay, so the culture that we are aiming for in the ETAL video, and I think we succeed, is current Italian culture. So it doesn't matter if it's a culture with a lowercase c or it's a culture with the, capital C, it's culture, okay? We don't even, waste time on which kind of culture. It's culture, it's real. It's been shot in Italy. The people we interview are Italians, but also it's been shot the videos in Austin with Italians living in Austin. We create a bridge. The student not necessarily feel this need, I have to go to Italy, otherwise when am I going to use this language? No, yes, of course, go to Italy, obviously, but if you cannot, or in the meantime, you can actually speak in Italian in your own city, because we show you how many places you can do that. And also the fact that all these members of the Italian community have very willingly participate in the making of the video, I think it gives, with their participation, no money, but the fact that they were there and they were kind of proud to be there. So they really make us feel very good about that. And transculturalism, I can do ever the ism, they're not my favorite part of the speech, but the fact, the ability to navigate through culture, okay? And the diversity, cultural diversity. Italy may be small, as big as Arizona, but the diversity within the Italy country, it's immense. It's historical, traditional, language, and so forth. So we present that too, sometimes in a controversial way, but hey, we are in college, right? And then the Texas Italian culture. So the 4 language skill though, do the videos cover this? Yes, indeed, they do. So our main goal was culture, was to give culture in a different, more engaging, dynamic way, but yet we do cover this 4 skill. So if we can go and show maybe, okay, so let's start with the listening comprehension skill. Our videos use mainly, especially the centerpiece, a voiceover, a narrator. Why? Because we have control, right? The first one was Romina. In a very actually touching video, half of the video was shot in Rome, some part in Austin, but Romina is the narrator. So I can tell Romina which grammar to use, which lexicon to use, because we follow again the book that they use the student, again the same book of 601. And whereas when I interview Italians, no matter how many times Sergio Romina will say, can you speak slowly? Oh, don't use subjunctive. Although, I mean, you can do that. An Italian will not accept to do that. So having a narrator is an important element of this video. And then we use extra visual clues. So, for example, with the cooking accent, we have the names, the ingredients, or something written there. Or in the other video culture bits, we have little sentences, the most important one. In the other one, that's really funny. We haven't done very much, but it was funny. Like, you have visual tricks. Like the narrator will say something, but the images, the icon were different, and then you taste whether or not they were just following the icon or actually listening. And then the diversity, we have Italian as narrator of different regions and also different countries, okay, who speak Italian. So the student, once again, maybe can relate a little bit better. And the other one that I really like, the students were kind of shocked when we showed that, the one with the 2 guys there are 2 film directors. Romina and Sergio interviewed them through Skype. So the sound quality is not good at all, contrary to all the other videos, but we really wanted the student to be in a real context. If you're in Italy, you're talking on the phone, you're doing a Skype interview, you're not going to have a perfect, phonetic, no. So we want reality, okay, and that was one of the 2. And then we have extra resources. We have tons of extended interviews, just plain interviews, no narration, not nice images around, just interview. Okay, I have to hurry up because, right? Yes, so speaking. Of course, the team, the cultural team, generate discussion in class. So before, after the actual video, the students are engaged in conversation in group. We encourage group activity, of course. And after the conversation with another series, the one called Culture Bits, we show the student how to create an in-class skit. They have to do that, okay? So for each module. So the video that they see, and maybe we'll see a clip, will have again 2 Italians, in Austin of course, and creating their own story. So they offer a model for the student to then create their own. We'll give specific instruction what they have to do, the length, blah, blah, blah. But they see in a real contest 2 Italians speaking, and now, speaking pretty much normally, okay? So can we see maybe a little clip? we have time to, before we go, to the Inerzia Flavia. That is the centerpiece of Module 1. It's not working? Well, if we don't, if we cannot see, you saw one, so you have to
from
go.
there. Right. There you go. You can go ahead and press the Option key, and then it should open up. Or just copy and paste.
Copy and paste.
È piuttosto complicato essere una donna in Italia. Da una parte c'è l'idea della madre, la Madonna.
La sua identità è quella di madre. Se il figlio adulto, maturo, esce di casa, letteralmente e figurativamente, e quindi si stacca dalla madre, la madre dovrebbe essere orgogliosa perché ha fatto il suo lavoro, ha creato un individuo autonomo.
Dall'altra ci sono le belline, le donne che gli uomini amano guardare, ma non certo sposare.
Per una donna bella, ovviamente bombardata dai mass media, bombardata dalle televisioni, dalle reti televisive per
No politics, okay. Let's move on. Okay, so this is the centerpiece, as I told you, for conversation, to get familiar with the team, for grammar review, lexicon, vocabulary recycle. This is the other one, the second one, if we can show Romina, the one anche Giovanotti, just a little clip to show you how these two Italian musicians in Austin, after they introduce themselves, they create a story for our students.
Sì.
They're actors.
Possiamo essere sulla sesta e cercare una gig, cioè un concerto, e incontrarci per caso in uno di questi locali.
In cerca di un concerto.
In cerca di un concerto.
Due musicisti in cerca di un concerto.
Due musicisti italiani.
La storia quindi
And so on,
inizia.
so we can stop here.
Quando
And so on, so they create, they talk to each other, so we see them talking to each other and then actually the skill creation. And then at the end, we have the instruction and also in the packet. Okay, now the reading aspect of this. Well, reading, we have, the student have to get a packet, which is divided in 3 parts: grammar, reviews, script and vocabulary of each module, of each video of ITAL, and the last part are readings. All the readings are related to the main theme presented by the modules, okay? So, and we have even a student, an upper division student, wrote 2 of them. Otherwise, I wrote, or we took it from the internet, some articles. We wanted to show that too. So we have the packet. Also, it's been proved that actually reading the subtitle helps improving the reading skill, because I'm sure that they do read the Italian, of course, subtitle. Not all the videos are English, only the module 1. And some other, of course, lucky. And then there are, and I would like probably in a minute to ask Sergio Rovina to show the Google site. How do we get into the ITAL Google site? Because you can see that there, each video has external links. So the student, the really one who are engaged, can expand ad infinitum all this, the theme. So about everything, about the music we use, about the city they saw, the museum, the dish we talk about. So that is an extra, sources for them to improve the reading. Finally, the writing skill. Well, yes, the writing also is covered by ITAL, is part of it, because at the end of each module, students have to write an in-class composition whose subject is be given prior, so they have time to think about. In class, they just need to come. They can have index card with some vocabulary words, no laptop, no dictionary, and write their composition. Here, just an example, since I've been talking mainly about Module 1, the composition that we give, Okay, we show another video that I'm going to show you a clip in a minute, but we gave a choice, an option, no? Did you like the video about the musician? Well, then write about that. Did you prefer the one about the cooking recipe? Well, then write your experience about that. So they do that. This is, remember, we are still at the beginning of the semester. Then they increase difficulty. And then we have the blog writing. The blog writing belong only to my pilot class in the spring 2013. Blog writing, if you do it rightly and if you do it correctly, takes a long time. You need to give feedback. So when you have 25 students, of course I was lucky enough because Romina and Sergio will help me with that endeavor, but it's not something very easy if you want to do it properly. And the student, and Sergio will tell more about this, really love this component. Culture. I think I hope I make clear what we intend for culture. One thing that maybe I didn't talk much about is the fact that we are in a community here. Here in Texas, we belong to the Italian community, if you are taking Italian. So Romina and Sergio have been working on the side, on their own, on the Texas Italian stories, which are beautiful documentaries on the Italian. Like for example, in Bryan, Texas, I didn't know there are 1,400 Italians, a rich community. They have a video. What do? They put it on Facebook. So their members go on Facebook and see, their video, but they also see the blogs, the comments, the posts of the student. So the student and the community of Bryan has a dialogue. They can actually interact through the magic of media, of Facebook, okay? So this is the cookie with an accent. I'm going to finish here. No, you're not going to be able to do it. Okay, but cookie with an accent, I hope you can go just for fun maybe to the Ital channel TV and see all these 25 wonderful videos. Sergio, if you come here, maybe we can make it. Sorry, I always talk too much, but.
Nice.
That's okay. It's all together. We're all a group, a community.
All right. So I'll try to be a little bit brief on this, and not that many pictures on this one. All right. So of course, I mean we're giving a very abridged version of how this came to be, right? But there's a lot of literature review, of different sort of areas. We're talking about the idea of how this project is a crossover between communications and foreign language and also education technology. So if any of you are interested in knowing which were the journals that we read and whatnot, I mean, it'll be interesting to sort of contact us and we'll have that conversation. The reason why we created this, and I think that one of the things that comes into the whole idea of reading the literature, right, is that in the end we want to make sure that we shape people's senses, we shape the students' senses, right, for different reasons. I mean, reasons as far as like scientific reasons. I mean, it has been proven, right, when you shape somebody's senses, you can actually probably access that long-term memory, right? Now, the other part of it is just basically that people are oversaturated. I mean, there is tons of different movies going on, and if you go to see some of these blockbusters, 250 million blockbusters, this is what the students are coming in. They're coming into a 3D. How do you shape somebody's senses after they go through that, right? So, once, you definitely have to create high-quality content, right? So it has to be high quality, it has to be engaging, it has to be dynamic, it has to be current, and then it has to be relevant. There's this idea of relevance, and it's something that I like to call perceived relevance, because it's perceived by the student itself, But perceived relevance is something that has actually sort of like increased nowadays, and it's something that like maybe 20 years ago we didn't really have. We could probably watch a movie and just have the movie just swoop us out of our feet, right? Now that we have this component, and specifically that we have been developing, we care whether a person thinks that is relevant or not. Whether if I share something, the trailer of this movie is going to get me some more connections and some more of a likability among my peers, right? So the concept of perceived relevance is something that allows us, and I don't think that we are using it, as much as we should, right? It allows us also to shape people's senses. Now, so how do we use that? And I think that's one of the biggest parts, and Antonella was talking a little bit about the community aspect of it. And this is really what I think is the super interesting part about ETAL, you know, is the community part of it. Look, first of all, we create pieces that are with good quality, with good camera, good lighting, etc., right? But then you feature real people, all right? And real people that probably have never seen themselves, you know, shot in such a fashion, with the edits and with the music and whatnot, you know? So then you allow those people in a specific to feel like, you know what, I'm going to try to share this, you know? Like Paola was in one of our videos. She's a graduate student, you know, and you share the video, right? So by sharing the video, right, in this Facebook, you know, like part where we post it, right, then you create a community between her family, her friends, everybody that is interested in seeing this video, and of course you try to do topics that are of interest to everybody in a specific. And then the communities that are the students that are going into this to watch the videos themselves, you know, and then have to, like, in the end of these videos, we have this thing called missions, you know, in certain videos and certain not, you know, where people have to post certain things on Facebook. So right there, they're interacting with that community, and that creates a sense of perceived relevance. That creates a sense of, like, look, what I'm watching right now in Classroom, more people care about this. It's not the same if I watch a video and it has 100 million views, or if it has 103 views. That's something that we just tend to forget when we create content. So whenever they go and they see the video that has 800 views and climbing, all right, and that there are people commenting on this, and they're commenting in Italian, and it's something that sort of like, the perceived relevance increases, right? And therefore, we feel that we're shaking people's senses, you know what I mean? All right, so in order to take advantage of that, we created something that was called the ETAL model class. So the ETAL pilot class, which is what we try to do with Antonella, right? Now, this was sort of an experiment, you know, and I think that it worked out great. I mean, we will show a little bit at the end some of the interviews with the students in specific, right? Now, what we did, right, so we split the students, which were 25 in the case of Antonella's class, in 5 groups. And we kind of went to a role-play mode of, like, this is sort of a newsroom, all right? Where Antonella became kind of the figure of the editor of this newsroom, right? And then they had different topics that students could pick, and they picked their own, right? And some of them, politics, pop art, fine art, travel, food, whatever. What they did after that, and I'll kind of show it to you real quick on our website. Are you using this mouse? Cool. Very rudimentary website right now for now, but somehow students like the idea of this kind of wiki little interface. So there are the ETAL blogs right here, right? Where, for example, this is the travel group, all right? Each one of them, they're supposed to kind of like, okay, cool. They're supposed to, how they call it, students call themselves pimp out their pages, right? So they pimp out their pages and put in their names and a little picture that defines their group, right? And then every day, you know, which is something that I was trying to get, every day they post something. There's 5 people in that group, you know, so everybody has like to post one thing a day, all right? So in the end, they end up posting 5 of them on a period of 5 weeks, all right? So every day they post a piece of content, which is, it could be a link, it could be a video, it could be a picture, right? And then they would add a description to that content, or of course a description in Italian, right? And the minimum is 140 characters, which is what they're used to in Twitter, right? Now, we noticed that most students actually went up and beyond and created and wrote way more than 140 characters, and some of them really went all out, you know? There were some things called the mega posts, so they had to do 4 of those posts over the course of 5 weeks, right? And then the mega post would be something a little bit different when they actually explained who they were, so they had to put a picture of themselves, and then they talked about like why they chose their major, right? So a little bit in English, and then in Italian they would talk about basically why is it that they chose the topic that they're concentrating themselves into, right? And one of the interesting parts about this was that thank you very much, no problem. And we're getting towards the end of the presentation. So one of the interesting parts of it was that the grade was shared. All right, so students had to look at each other, edit each other out, you know, I mean, like and go and see and learn about each other, you know, because they, you know, when you have like personal questions as far as like who you are, whether you choose your major, and somebody has to help you edit that in order to get the grade. It gets to this, like, you know, to this kind of like environment where they get to know each other a little bit more, right? So then at the end of the day, we, so that was the blog part of it, and then we also did like a video, which was with these guys using everything that they had learned from the blogs. They had to create an ETAL style video where we provided them some training, and we empower people from like the RTF and RT students to actually use their skills. And that was impressive of what they actually ended up doing. And then we had like a community screening. So we actually had a room filled with 50 people from the community of the ETAL Facebook page, you know, to come and check out the videos that were done. All right. So there you go.
And as a closing statement, we have results, but we wanted to show you some testimonial interviews that we did with some of the students from Antonella's pilot project class. And they are...
My name is Bettis Morlock, and I'm a radio, television, and film major at the University of Texas. My name is Bettis Morlock, and I'm a radio, television, and film major at the University of Texas.
Hi, I'm Liza. I'm from Chicago, Illinois, and I'm studying public relations with a Business Foundation certificate.
Well, my name is Jana Vincent. I am a studio art pre-med major at the University of Texas, and I am from a town of Colleyville. It's in Fort Worth, or near Fort Worth.
Yeah, I think they should do it with all the foreign languages. Like, it's such a great learning tool. Like, it opens up so much more than what the classroom can do.
For those who don't have the opportunity to study abroad, this kind of provides that context, that background, the culture into what language they're studying. I mean, you can learn a language on paper, but actually learning and experiencing it and being involved in a community where you speak, where you write, where you watch films, you complete missions, it keeps you engaged and it helps you to learn. And I think ETAL was that extra component that took learning a language to a different level.
I wouldn't be surprised if other schools are starting to do a thing like this, because it really is so helpful and it's engaging and it gets you out of like the textbook and kind of the boring things. Because foreign languages and learning about cultures and, you know, a different country and a different language, it's exciting, and it should be exciting, and you should be wanting to learn it and, you know, intrigued by the material. But when I'm reading out of a textbook every day, sitting in class in the same classroom, it can kind of get boring and repetitive. So it's nice to see like a video and bring in audio and media to, you know, get a feel for like what it is that you're learning in the textbook and also have it and see it in real life. So yes, I would definitely recommend it. I mean, I've made my friends and watched these videos because I think they're so funny and so like catchy and cool, and just it's like when I want to talk about Italy and Rome, I'm like, oh yeah, I went to this one place. Like I'm able to pull up these videos and say like, look here, this is what it looked like. So yes, I would definitely recommend this, and it helped with my language skills, so it was helpful.
Creating the blog first, I really loved, because not only, well, it's our own research, it's not something that's just kind of being fed to us, we had to go do it ourselves. And the fact that I thought it was just cool, you know, the ETAL Facebook page where it's like, maybe if your blog was good that day, it's posted on there for other people to see, and you could go read other people's and just see what people thought was interesting enough to post. I really enjoyed the blog. It was one of my favorite parts.
I think it helped create an organization with us. Like we were obligated to be organized and say like, this is the day that you're going to do it. You're responsible for doing it, because it's all of our grades, it's not just your grade. So I think that was very helpful because it made us be responsible and make sure that we did this on time and made sure we edited it and made sure it was like good and perfect in regards to Italian speaking and Italian writing.
I thought it was a good component. It was more engaging and it kept me wanting to keep up with my Italian, wanting to share and be at my best as well because, you know, everybody sees it, the community sees it, so. And then the competition definitely, you know, drives you, so.
So I was excited for this project, but I was also a little nervous with knowing that there was going to be native Italian speakers speaking in the videos and stuff, so I was nervous that I wouldn't understand them. But I think that with like the scenery and you can pick up on a lot of context clues and all that, I think shortly after I watched the first detail video, I was reassured that it was going to be very helpful to my learning experience.
The fact that I could go home and watch these anytime I wanted, it was really cool.
Were you able to actually do that? I mean, did you actually go home and watch it? Was there
I do.
anything in particular that...
I liked watching the cooking with an accent videos. I actually would take it to my friends who aren't Italian, and I'd make them watch it, and we're like, okay, we're going to try this recipe or this recipe. Like, I actually used them, and it was really fun.
I actually did that a lot. It was just like one it took me back into. It really did help with the grammar because I had an image to associate like certain grammatical contexts like the imperfect subjunctive, something like that. And I also found myself sharing with like my family and my friends because, you know, it was an experience I enjoyed, so.
Okay, well, thanks for coming, and please leave your more information, and Sergio Romina can also answer to you. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Grazie.
See you at more TLC events. Thank you.